Hey guys, this is Rick. I hope you're having a great day. I thought I'd do just a quick little catch-up video log where I'm not wearing a VR headset. I'm out of breath at the moment. I've just been running up and down the stairs. Not intentionally, I've been getting a few bits and bobs. But I have just had the most bizarre experience. I just drove my van for the first time in about 6 weeks. And I had an Asda delivery come here yesterday, and I needed to drop some food off to somebody on the vulnerable list. And so I put the stuff in the van and off I went. Now, for the last 6 or so weeks, I've been playing a computer game called Euro Truck Simulator 2, and I've been driving using this setup. I've basically had a little steering wheel and some pedals, which are like, they've got a proper feel to them, and they actually feel like you know, proper vehicle pedals and everything. And I've changed all my muscle memory. All the muscle memory that I had from driving the van has been completely wiped and replaced with like 6 weeks worth of driving on a simulator. So of course I got in the van, started it up. Straight away the driving position felt completely weird. Because obviously I'm used to this arrangement. Now when I drive with this, I actually have the steering wheel pushed up quite close to me, like so. And so the first thing I had to do was move my seat forward. And so anyway, move that forward. The steering wheel felt completely weird and felt really big as well, because that's a little tiny steering wheel. Anyway, what I didn't take into account as well was the fact that the computer steering wheel, you only need to turn it like not a lot, whereas in the real life, in the real van, you have to turn it quite a lot to actually you know, get the thing to point in the direction you want it to go. So anyway, I pull away, and straight away I think, wow, this steering wheel is really spongy. And of course also I'm sat, while I'm playing this game, I'm sat in a seat that isn't moving. I'm getting no G-forces. The seat is solid, so of course in your mind you think the suspension is solid and rock hard, and you don't feel the road as you go along. And so I pull away, and of course all of a sudden, in the first time in 6 weeks, I'm getting G-forces, and the van is like, you know, it's leaning with the turn, and honestly it felt like I was driving a dinghy. It was insane. And of course I came to my junction, went to put my foot on the brake, and I ended up slamming the brakes on, because on this particular setup you actually have to push the brake pedal down quite far in order to stop the truck. So I pulled out of here. I must have looked like a first-year newbie. I've been driving for like 30 plus years, and I must have looked like I was stepping behind the wheel for the first time, and it actually felt like that. It was actually a little bit disconcerting. And in the end, I actually decided to I was going to turn right on the junction, and I thought, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to handle this. I need to get used to how, you know, the amount of steer I need to steer in order to get the vehicle in the right direction. So I turned left in the end, and I just kind of trundled along, you know, sort of down the drive, and eventually, it took me about 10 minutes, but eventually I started to get used to it again. But I still couldn't get over the whole sponginess, the way the van would lollop around, and honestly it felt like I was driving a dinghy. It was just insane. And it really goes to demonstrate like the plasticity of your brain, and how you can retrain yourself to do something in a certain way, and then something that you've been doing for forever, you go back to it and it's all completely different. It was just really bizarre. So I'm gonna have to get back out there as soon as I can and just drive some to get used to it again. And I'm going to have to be very, very wary of it again, because obviously while I'm in lockdown, I am doing a lot of the computer driving. So because it's kind of sort of getting me out there. But anyway, that was just completely bizarre and totally unexpected. So that's been my day so far. How are you guys getting on with this lockdown? We're still, I think we're in week coming towards the beginning of week 6 now, I think. In fact, I don't even know what day it is. So, what day is it today?
Today is Saturday the 2nd of May.
See, I was kind of thinking Friday. Wasn't far out, but I think, yeah, from tomorrow it's the start of week 6 lockdown. I managed to get a delivery from Asda. and it was the only place I could get a slot, and I had to book it like weeks in advance. It's quite frustrating for people like me who I can't do supermarkets. I can't go to supermarkets. I get panic attacks in queues. Any place where I feel I'm trapped, you know, if I'm stuck in a queue or a checkout or something like that, I get this kind of trapped feeling. I have panic attacks. So I've always had my groceries delivered. Unfortunately, I'm kind of not on any kind of vulnerable list, which means that I'm really, really struggling to get booking slots. And the only way I was able to get this one at Asda was I waited until the stroke of midnight when they opened up the next day on the end of their delivery slots, and I jumped in, and as soon as I refreshed the page, like, you know, a minute after midnight, already half of the slots had gone. So I just went in there and grabbed the slot as quickly as I could. But it's a bit ridiculous. Now, a friend of mine, his missus has got a letter from the government saying that she's on the vulnerable list, and they can get all the slots in the world. You know, they can just waltz in there any time of day and just grab a slot. So thankfully, you know, if there's anything specific that I need, that they've been getting them for me, which has been really good. But I'm kind of thinking about all the poor people who don't have that network, you know, and they need to get stuff. They can't really get out. They can't handle a supermarket for whatever reason, but they're not vulnerable enough to be on the government list, you know, for priority. So yeah, it's a little bit frustrating. However, I'm pretty much stocked up to the gunnels now, and I'm going to show you these things that I've been eating. I lose weight. I've been losing weight quite a lot. I've been relying on these protein bars, and I get these from I think it's something online, Muscle Foods online, and these are quite nice chocolate coated little protein bars, and I'll have one of those for breakfast. These are the cheaper ones. These are the more expensive ones. I was just trying them out. They're very nice, but they're very expensive, so I might not get these again. But these ones are cheaper. And having one of those for breakfast, and then one after dinner, and then perhaps one in the evening, you know, as a snack. And then for a main meal, I'm often having things like tuna in, sardines or mackerel in a flavoured sauce. I've got all sorts of different things here. There's in tomato sauce. I think I got some the other day. Tomato sauce. Some in sweet chili sauce. And it's just one of these fried up with some onions and some garlic and served on a bed of rice. And for rice, I'm trying to be good, and I'm trying to go brown rice, but if you've ever tried cooking brown rice, it's a real chore. So I get this pre-cooked brown rice that you just stick in the microwave for 2 minutes. I know it's cheating, but it's so convenient. And I'll have that on a bed of rice, this fish on a bed of rice, and it's just yummy. And yeah, it'll either be that or a piece of meat with rice. And rice seems to be my main carbohydrate staple now, and I try to go, like I say, brown rice when I can, but at the moment I'm just grabbing what I can get. But to be honest, this looks like a lot, but it'll only last me about 2 to 3 weeks, and then I'll have to find some more from somewhere, because I do eat a lot of rice. But the good news is, because I'm basically eating meat, fish, rice and a few protein bars, I'm losing weight like crazy. And because it's a high protein diet, I'm not hungry at all. I literally have a protein bar in the morning. I don't even think about food till like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, at which point I'll probably have my main meal, because I have a main meal quite early, and then followed by a protein bar, and that's it. I don't care about food. Now, I was the most snacky person on the planet. I would be in a state of constant grazing, and it's one of the reasons why I'm not the slimmest of people. But discovering these little protein bars, I only ended up at Muscle Foods online because I couldn't get stuff anywhere else. And a friend of mine said, you know, if you need meat and stuff, then go to Muscle Foods online. They sell it in bulk and it's good quality. And so I ordered a bunch of ribeye steaks, which were incredibly well priced. And they were a little bit chewy if you fry them, but I've been slow cooking them, and with tiny little, crumble up a little half an OXO cube, a bit of water, and then just leave it there for sort of 4 or 5 hours, and they are as tender as anything. You have that on a bed of rice, lovely. Yeah, I've been losing loads of weight, and I have not been bothered about snacks, so I'm really happy. I've just kind of stumbled into this this lifestyle, this way of eating. It's really nice, it's tasty. Those protein bars are chocolate covered, they taste lovely, they're sweet as well, so they sort out my sweet cravings. But yeah, literally protein bars, meat, fish and rice, and that's been my life for the last probably 4 or 5 weeks, and I've easily lost more than half a stone. And every time I jump on the scales, it's gone down a pound. It's just brilliant. Anyway, I think I'm going to probably spend the rest of the day probably driving again, actually. I am kind of enjoying this downtime, although obviously I do work from home as well, so when the work needs to come in, then you know, I'll get on and do that. But for the most part, I'm just generally chilling out and kind of enjoying this slightly gentler way of life. Anyway, so that's just a little catch up from Rick World. Still here, still sort of, well, I think it's the wrong word to say I'm enjoying the lockdown, but I am enjoying the downtime. And like I say, I'm sat there on my little steering wheel and my little headset and just listening to the radio. And I've actually stopped listening to talk type radio now. I'm just gone over to listening to music. I'm catching up on a lot of my music. I've got loads and loads of music. I have really weird taste in music, but I've got a load of music that I haven't listened to for ages. And I did discover a new, well, I say new, it's been around for ages, a radio station that's available within the trucking sim called Smooth FM. No, it's just called Smooth Radio. And I love the tracks they're playing on there. They're just kind of like chilled out songs from the 80s and the 70s, and just kind of my era where I used to listen to lots and lots of music as a kid and a teenager. So it's kind of stirring up all sorts of memories and you know, emotions from listening to different music. So I'm just quite happy that driving along on my long distance lorry driving, listening to these tracks of old and feeling quite nostalgic in places. It's quite good. So there we go, that is Rick World. Very little happening, but thought I'd just kind of pick up the camera because the camera happened to be out, and I had that weird experience with driving the van, so I actually had something to talk about. So there we go. So anyway, I hope you guys are doing okay. Hope you guys are coping okay. Do be sure to keep an eye out for each other and look after each other. And until next time, thanks for watching and take care.